Hi, I'm Carla Higgins, and this is the Double Duty Agent Podcast. I am so glad you're here. Each week, we get together and we explore the stories of successful double duty real estate agents. And from their stories, you can find the solutions to overcoming your challenges and the keys to unlocking your success. Are you ready? Let's get started. Welcome back to the Double Duty Agent Podcast. I'm Carla Higgins, and I am the host of the Double Duty Agent Podcast. This is episode 21. Can you believe it? I can't. I absolutely can't. Back in May, when I thought, I thought about it for a long time, but back in May, when I actually started the Double Duty Agent Podcast, I was not sure. I really wasn't. And I have to express my absolute heartfelt gratitude to you, the listener, for continuing to join me week after week and listening to the amazing stories. I also have to express my gratitude to the amazing agents that have joined me and shared their story and their tips and tricks to help you in your journey to achieving success as a double duty agent. Okay, well, we're going to do something just a little bit different for the next 5 weeks. We are going to dive into a 5-part mini series that I'm calling the 5 Master Keys to Unlock Your Success. So there are 5 basic things. And if you've been with me for the last 20 episodes, you've heard all of these master keys expressed in one way or another by the agents as they talked about the choices, the actions, and the mindset shifts that they have taken that have led them to their success. So each week for the next 5 weeks, we're going to cover a key element, that master key. When mastered, it will open up new doors in your business and in your life. Today, we're starting off with one of the most important pieces. It is a mindset topic. And it's actually something that the agents who coach with me, we work on this on an ongoing basis. In fact, I have a coach. I meet with her once a week, and we work on this exact same thing every week. This is a lifelong journey. And what I'm going to give you today is a framework on how to unlimit your beliefs. Now, I want you to think for a minute. Sometimes when I say limiting beliefs, people go, yeah, I've heard that before. I know, overcome them, eradicate them, do all of those things. And you're not going to hear that from me today because I don't think that you overcome them. I think that you become aware of them and maybe adjust them. I have a belief in life, and the belief that I have is that people's bad qualities are just their good qualities with the volume turned up just a little too loud. Our limiting beliefs are the same way because our limiting beliefs are the thing that keeps us from jumping off a tall building without a parachute, that keep us from walking down a dark alley at night all by ourselves. Our limiting beliefs are there to protect us. It's one of the tools that our ego employs to keep us safe. Okay. But our ego has a tendency to get a little bit overzealous, and it sees and perceives safety issues where there aren't any. And that's what we have to get really clear with. And we have to have a conversation with our ego. We absolutely have to do that. Remember, your ego wants you to be safe, wants to keep you safe. And as a result, it wants to keep you comfortable because it perceives uncomfortable as unsafe. And unfortunately, uncomfortable is where we need to be to grow. So what we're going to talk about today is a framework to do that. But before we do that, let's talk a minute about what are limiting beliefs. If you've ever felt like you're standing in your own way, or like there's a ceiling to your success that you just can't seem to break through, that's what we're digging into today. These invisible barriers hold us back, and we can learn how to work with them and shift them to actually empower us. Okay? We're going to get empowered. All right, so let's start by defining what we mean when we talk about limiting beliefs. A limiting belief is essentially just a thought, a thought that we've thought over and over again. It's actually a story. You'll see what I'm going to give you a formula. It's a story that we've told ourselves over and over and over again until it became a thought. And then the thought continues over and over and over again until it becomes a belief. I want you to do me a favor, real quick. If you got a piece of paper and a pencil, write down the word belief and tell me what 3-letter word you find right in the middle. Exactly. Oftentimes, it's a lie. Oftentimes, the story that we've told ourselves over and over and over again, and that story was most likely designed by our ego to protect us, to keep us safe, to keep us comfortable, to make sure we always look good and be right. That story over and over and over again, that thought over and over and over again became a belief. So, in order to unlimit ourselves, we just need to create a new story. These beliefs, they can be about yourself, they can be about other people, they can be about the world around you, and they tend to create these invisible walls that stop you from achieving your full potential. Here, let's talk about a couple of examples. You might believe things like this: I don't have enough time to build my real estate business. I'm not a good salesperson. It's too hard to be successful as a part-time agent. Everyone in my brokerage is gone for the day when I get off work and I have no help. Therefore, I can't be successful. Any of those sound familiar? These thoughts can be so ingrained that you don't even realize that they're holding you back, but they are. These beliefs don't come out of nowhere. They're usually shaped by our past experiences, what we've been told by others, and what our own failures or frustrations have created for us. But here's the thing: just because you've believed something for a long time doesn't mean it's true. And it certainly doesn't mean it has to stay that way. How limiting beliefs hold you back. Let's talk about that for just a minute. Especially as a double duty agent. When you believe something like, I don't have enough time to succeed in real estate, you're essentially creating a self fulfilling prophecy. Your mind, your ego will focus on all the reasons why you don't have time instead of looking for solutions that could make it possible. Think about that. Can you think of times where you have gone out of your way to prove that the belief that you have is true? Your ego is doing this for you all the time. It is constantly directing you to see the proof that the story that you're telling yourself over and over and over again that's become a belief is true. And it's not just about time. If you believe, I'm not good at talking to people, you'll avoid putting yourself in situations where you can talk to people. If you tell yourself, if you believe that none of my friends or family are interested in working with me to buy or sell a house, then you're going to miss the opportunities because they do want to work with you or someone to buy or sell a house at some point in their life. So when you limit what you do, you limit your opportunities. These limiting beliefs, they keep you from taking action. And without taking action, your business just cannot grow. So, how do we start breaking free from these limiting beliefs? Well, the first step is awareness. You have to identify what your limiting beliefs are before you can start to unlimit them. Here's a powerful exercise to help with this. Think about a goal you want to achieve in real estate. Maybe it's closing your first sale, maybe getting more leads, or counterbalancing your time more effectively. Now ask yourself, why haven't I achieved this yet? And pay close attention to the thoughts that come up. They might sound like, I'm too busy, I'm not as experienced as other agents, I don't know enough people. Write those down. Write all of those thoughts that come to you. Write them down. If you're driving, don't write right now, but come back to the exercise, right? Write those down. What you're doing is surfacing your limiting beliefs. By bringing them to light, this is going to help us on our path to taking away their power. I want you to think about this. Ask yourself this question: what would I have to give up in order to achieve my goal. Because it could be actually that what you need to give up is this thought, this belief, right? That may be what you need to give up. All right. So once you've identified your limiting beliefs, the next step is to figure out the story that you're telling yourself. Because there is an underlying story to that belief, and it's that story that you've told yourself over and over and over again. Typically, a story starts with a fact. This is the tricky part, right? Because the fact may be true, but the story is not. Oftentimes, you can identify this because there's the word therefore or because included in that story. For instance, I am a double duty agent. I have another job. Therefore, no one is available to help me when I need help. You see the limiting belief there, right? The therefore after. Another way that we can figure out what the story is by asking ourselves, is this belief, the thing that we've just wrote down on the paper, is it 100% true? The 100% true question is truly the reason why I started the Double Duty Agent podcast in the first place. Because in hearing the stories of successful double duty agents week after week, you are able to see that that belief that you have, well, it isn't 100% true because there's proof of it. There are other people who have overcome that same challenge and found success. And I know many of you are saying, hey, Coach Carla, you don't understand. My life is different than everyone else's. Guess what that is? Any guesses? Yes, it is a limiting belief. All right. After we have identified the story and we've asked ourselves, is it 100% true? And we have looked and found evidence that it may not be true. The next question that we have to ask ourselves is, what will happen if I continue to believe this? What will happen if I continue to believe this story? And usually the answer is, I'm not going to achieve my goals. Usually the answer is, I'm not going to find success. Usually the answer is, I'm going to stay right where I am right now, or maybe even moving backwards, right? That's what will happen if you hang on to some of those stories. After you have identified the limiting belief, you have identified the story that you told yourself over and over and over again to create that belief. After you've asked yourself and found out that it's not 100% true, this story you're telling yourself, and then you have identified what will happen if you don't rewrite the story, then the time has come to rewrite the story. We have to rewrite the story. For example, let's take the belief, I don't have enough time. If you rewrite that to say, I can make time for the things that matter to me. Notice how this simple shift opens up possibilities, tons of possibilities. Now all we have to do is figure out what matters to me. Instead of feeling stuck, you feel empowered to find solutions. Here's another one. If you believe, I'm not good at talking to people, you could reframe that to say, I work hard at learning the conversations of real estate and improving my skills every day. Suddenly, the focus isn't on what you lack, but the progress that you're making. You have to remember your thoughts shape your actions and your actions shape your results. When you start thinking in ways that support your goals, you'll naturally begin to take action that align with those goals. Now, after we've rewritten the story, it's not just that simple. I hate to have to tell you, but there's some work to be done still. Seems like we've done a lot of work already, right? We've identified our limiting belief. We have figured out what story we told ourselves to create that belief. We have explored whether it's that story is 100% true. We have found examples of it not being true. We have discussed with ourselves what will happen if we don't rewrite this story. And then we've rewritten the story, and there's just one more step. And this step is not going to be an Amazon step. It's not going to have immediate gratification. This is something that you're going to have to work on because that story that created the belief, you've been telling yourself that story for a very long time. It is a nice, comfortable, worn in path, and your ego wants that story to be true so much because it creates comfort for you. So, what we have to do is we have to take this new story and we have to tell ourselves that new story over and over and over again until it becomes the belief. And then we substitute our limiting belief for the unlimited one. Same facts, right? We still have a double duty life. We still have another job. We've just rewritten the story to create the possibility and opportunity instead of limiting ourselves. Unlimited versus limited. This is making sense. I hope you can see how you can apply this. Now, there are some different ways that you can ensure that you tell yourself this new story over and over again enough. So, I work on this all the time. I currently have 4 limiting beliefs that I am working on, and I have 4 new stories. I have printed them out on pieces of paper, and I have hung them on my bathroom mirror. And every morning and every evening, I have a habit. The habit is brushing my teeth. And something I learned from James Clear in the Atomic Habits book is something called habit stacking. And so I habit stack telling myself this new story on top of a habit that I already have, brushing my teeth. So every morning and every evening when I go in to brush my teeth, I have 4 pieces of paper hanging on my mirror, and they have 4 different stories that I am telling myself as I work to unlimit 4 of my beliefs. And I read that story to myself, and I read them all 4 to myself 2 times a day, every morning, every evening. And sometimes if I happen in the bathroom in the middle of the day, I might read them again. And the more I read them over and over and over again, the more they get in there and they will replace my limiting belief, unlimiting my possibilities and opportunities.